You can lose years waiting for someone to become ready for the life you were already called to live. And the painful part is, it does not always feel like delay at first. It feels like love. It feels like patience. It feels like loyalty. It feels like believing in someone. It feels like standing beside them while they grow. So you wait. You wait for them to heal. You wait for them to decide. You wait for them to become consistent. You wait for them to stop being afraid. You wait for them to finally choose you properly. You wait for them to become the man, the partner, the leader, the believer, the adult they keep saying they were becoming. And while you were waiting, your own life keeps paying the price. Your plans slow down. Your confidence begins to shrink. Your calling becomes postponed. Your energy gets tied to their uncertainty. Your future becomes suspended inside their process. And one day, you look at yourself and realize, my life has been waiting for someone else to become ready. That realization can break something in you because you did not think you were abandoning yourself. You thought you were being patient. You thought you were being loyal. You thought you were being faithful. You thought you were giving grace. You thought you were not giving up too quickly. But there is a difference between supporting someone's growth and attaching your future to their unreadiness. There is a difference between walking beside someone and standing still because they refuse to move. There is a difference between love and waiting so long that your own life starts disappearing. And many women were never taught that difference. They were taught to see potential. They were taught to be patient. They were taught to endure process. They were taught that a good woman believes, supports, prays, waits, covers, understands, and stays. So when a man is not ready, she does not immediately ask, what does his unreadiness cost me? She asks, how can I help him become ready? And that question can become dangerous because sometimes helping becomes holding. Holding becomes carrying. Carrying becomes postponing. And postponing becomes the quiet death of your own momentum. Let me say that plainly. Someone else's unreadiness can become a cage if your future is tied to their timing. Their fear becomes your delay. Their confusion becomes your pause. Their inconsistency becomes your emotional weather. Their lack of discipline becomes your burden. Their unwillingness to grow becomes the ceiling over your life. And somehow, because you love them, you start adjusting your destiny around their limitation. You stop moving at the pace of your calling. You stop making decisions with your own life in view. You start asking, will this overwhelm them? Will this make them feel left behind? Will this make me seem unsupportive? Will they be ready soon? Should I wait a little longer? And slowly, without realizing it, your future is no longer being shaped by wisdom. It is being shaped by someone else's delay. That is the cost. Not just time, identity, not just years, momentum, not just opportunity, calling. Because the life God placed inside you does not stop existing because someone else is not ready to walk with you. Your assignment does not disappear because another person has not matured enough to support it. Your future does not become less urgent because someone keeps needing more time to become responsible. And that is where many women get caught. They confuse compassion with captivity. They confuse loyalty with waiting indefinitely. They confuse being supportive with becoming stationary. They confuse I love him with I must pause my life until he becomes who he said he would be. But love was never meant to turn your future into a waiting room. Love was never meant to make your calling dependent on someone else's emotional development. Love was never meant to require you to shrink your pace so another person can remain comfortable in their unreadiness. Because readiness is not just a feeling. Readiness has fruit. Readiness has movement. Readiness has accountability. Readiness makes decisions. Readiness takes responsibility. Readiness stops using process as an excuse to keep benefiting from your patience. And if someone's process keeps requiring your sacrifice without producing evidence, you need to stop calling it growth and start calling it what it may be. Delay with good language. Patience with no structure. Promise with no movement. A future story that keeps you emotionally invested while nothing real is being built. That is not partnership. That is suspended life. And some of you know what that feels like. You are not single, but you are not secure. You are not free, but you are not chosen. You are not building, but you are not living. You are emotionally tied to something that keeps promising a future while consuming your present. And because there is potential, you keep staying, but potential is not enough to carry a future. Potential does not protect your time. Potential does not restore your years. Potential does not build a life. Potential without readiness becomes a beautiful prison. And the longer you stay there, the more expensive it becomes. Because delay compounds. A year becomes 2. 2 becomes 5. 5 becomes a version of you that has learned to lower her expectations just to survive the waiting. And eventually, you stop asking for what you need. You start asking for less. Less clarity, less consistency, less commitment, less emotional maturity, less evidence. Just enough progress to keep hoping. Just enough affection to keep waiting. Just enough language to make delay feel meaningful. And that is how women lose years to someone else's unreadiness. Not because they had no discernment, but because their discernment was competing with attachment. And attachment can make delay feel romantic. It can make waiting feel noble. It can make self-abandonment feel like faith. But discernment has to ask the question love is afraid to ask. What is this waiting costing me? What part of my life has been postponed? What part of my calling has been quieted? What part of my confidence has been weakened? What decisions have I delayed because I was hoping someone else would become ready enough to come with me? Those questions are not cruel. They are clarifying. Because you can love someone and still admit that their unreadiness is costing you too much. You can have compassion and still refuse to attach your destiny to their delay. You can care about someone and still stop building your life around their potential. That is not selfish. That is stewardship. You are responsible for the life God gave you. You are responsible for your time, your voice, your assignment, your decisions, your future. And one day, you will answer for what you did with the life entrusted to you. Not what you did while waiting for someone else to become ready. What you did with your life. And that is why this matters. Because your future is not something you should place in the hands of someone who keeps postponing responsibility. Your calling is not something you should leave at the mercy of someone's emotional immaturity. Your destiny is not a storage room where you keep everything God placed inside of you until another person decides they are finally ready. You are not wrong for wanting to move. You are not wrong for needing clarity. You are not wrong for asking for evidence. You are not wrong for refusing to let someone's process become your prison. And if you feel grief when you hear this, please breathe. That grief may be the part of you that knows you have been waiting for too long. Not waiting because God told you to. Waiting because attachment made you afraid to move without them. And maybe this is the shift. Maybe the question is no longer, will they ever be ready? Maybe the question is, how much of my life am I willing to keep delaying while I wait? Because someone can love the idea of a future with you and still not be ready to build one. Someone can talk about purpose and still not have the discipline to work in it. Someone can want access to your life without being prepared to carry the responsibility of that access. And if that is the case, you need truth more than hope. You need discernment more than fantasy. You need evidence more than promises. This is Redefine Your Narrative. And maybe the narrative you need to redefine is this. My future is too sacred to keep waiting on someone else's readiness. God bless you.